Well, but the citizens, you're so great. They don't even listen to the you just say that's what it is. You don't do that. Yeah, we're. Right.
Yeah. A lot take us around.
For sure. But I love it. One thing I noticed about that. Almost that's great. I don't know this one. Starts with Jefferson County line. Finishes on the east side of 67.
Yes.
Well, that's all Highway J. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. Station 100.
You tried plugging it in. Oh, my God.
That would help.
So
Must be a real technical there.
Or turn it off back on. I always thought that one. Oh, okay, that works.
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm off now.
Pull your chair up, Bruce.
Yeah, I'll be okay, right? Raise questions. What's a good thing?
We need you at the big table.
I don't have.
We don't need you at the big table.
I don't have anything. On the west side. Where then the bunch of still is marking to the north. So still is
Right now, we have Dan Weinkamp, Betsy Tracy, and Larry Stein. Dan. Yeah, Dan Weinkamp.
Right. That's all I got to find. Well, that ain't good. I want it weird. See, you had a boat coming in. I'll get back here. Stack road.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting over. Start with introductions. I'm Jeremy Tand from the SEMPO Regional Planning Commission. I'm the current chair.
Alex McRoy, SEMPO staff.
Jim Roach, City of Jackson.
Joe Gilliam, Modoc.
Marla Mills, KLG Engineering, SEMPO staff. Katrina Amos, Airport.
I'm over League Cape County Transit.
Wayne Hawes.
Drew Christian, CMO,
Tom Bolo, IDOT. Okay. And on the line, we have Dan Weinkamp, Lisa Steinman, Michael Brandon, and Betsy Tracy.
Take a motion to the adoption of the agenda for the meeting.
Second.
Have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Copy of the minutes there provided. If you had a chance to read through those. Take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Have a motion second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That stands. Chairman has no communications to share at this time. So we'll go on to public comments. Anyone from the public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to new and unfinished business. Election of officers for fiscal year 2024.
Right, since I started taking this over in 2020, I've learned that it's probably best to start election of officers in May, and sometimes it rolls into July before we get a volunteer. This is your first attempt at finding a chairman and a vice chairman in just 1 year. I did have a handout just to give you some reference of who's served in those roles over the past several years. Obviously, Chairman Tans has served as the chair the past 2 years, so I believe he's ready to relinquish his duties.
I've been asked to re-up. If you want to talk with Mayor Easter and see if she's interested, if not, I would go another year.
Okay, Henrik?
Yes, Mayor, sorry.
Would anybody want to volunteer for a vice chair? It's not bad, I want to get the credit. And you're not the chairman for many meetings.
I'll be glad to do that again, unless Mayor, Mayor would like to move in that role with Jeremy takes chairman. That's one of us. That work?
That'd be a good contingency. I'll keep it on for next meeting. Hopefully we'll sucker our mayor to get here.
Between the three of us. We'll keep it this time.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next item, MoDOT's unfunded needs list.
All right, so this item was brought up at our planning committee meeting earlier this month. Previously, MoDOT had shared with us that they were looking to shave some costs off of our unfunded needs list. Again, the unfunded needs list is somewhat self-explanatory. There are no funds for these projects. This is hypothetical funding scenarios. But obviously has to be based on our needs and somewhat fiscal realities. Most recently, we did move exit 93 from a tier 1 project to a tier 2. Again, that was from the findings that MoDOT had found through their consultant that there's an essential option to rehabilitate the bridge, which would have it last another approximate 10 years. The board was in favor of that, so we had approved moving that to a tier 2 and then moving the 2 tier 2 projects up to a tier 1. That would be Route 25 in Jackson from 61 to Route K. That project would include the addition of shoulders, and given MoDOT's guidance at our last board meeting, to reduce cost of that project, we had agreed to reduce the shoulder width from a 10-foot to a 6-foot width. That reduced the project cost by roughly between $4.5 to $5 million. We also have Shawnee Boulevard, the intersection of Shawnee Boulevard and US 61. That's the intersection right by the City Grants' Cape Radiology and the Indian Hills subdivision. And then our tier 3 remains the I-55 project. That was additional lanes for north and southbound. We had originally envisioned from exit 93 to 105. In efforts to keep the projects somewhat reasonable for cost, we had broken into 2 separate phases, that being exit 96 to exit 99 as an option for phase 1, and that's currently as our tier 3. But our planning committee meeting, Michael Brandon had mentioned that they're still looking to potentially shave off more costs from our unfunded needs. We were, as a planning committee, brainstorming what that might be and what that might look like. But we unfortunately did not have a forum for the planning committee meeting, nor do we have the perfect solution to shave off costs for the project. So we punted it to our board, and hopefully everybody here has phenomenal ideas, and or Mr. Brandon may have come up with some other alternatives to consider.
Alex, did you get my email Monday?
It's not standing out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent out the email for the final draft. And everything you said was true. It captures that. It's just kind of what I had landed on. I just knew we needed a chunk of 55 in there somewhere, somehow. So couldn't get the whole thing from 96 to 99, but I landed from the flyover there at exit 93 to Route K, I was able to get about 2 miles. Basically, that seemed like that's about what we were coming down to having money for is getting 2 miles one way and 2 miles the other. The 3 was just way too much. That was killing it. So, and that's just where I stuck it. There from exit 93 to Route K. So 93 to 96, or maybe I said that wrong. Whatever, I shaved a mile off of what was on there before. So, Alex, real quick, what is your email? I have you in here, but it's looking weird.
A McElroy at cityofcape.org.
AMCELORY at
ROY.
ROY at cityofcape.org. AMCELROY at cityofcapegirardeau.org.
Yes, either one works, City of Cape or City of Cape Girardeau, they have both domains.
All right, it should be coming to you, but yeah, I was hoping to get finalized comments by the end of a week from now. So I hate that this is your guys' first chance of getting to see it, but I did just email it to you, Scott or Alex. But it's very much like what you just said. It's got the Shawnee Boulevard and we reduced shoulders for financial reasons. Well, and plus, we just don't do 10-foot shoulders much anymore on Route 25, and then the flyover to exit 2, and then the 6-lane 55. And then there's the multimodal projects all stayed the same. We increased them because of inflation. So that's what the MPO's list looks like.
Did you have a dollar figure that you were looking to accomplish with the cost reductions?
I don't recall what it was off the top of my head, Alex. I can honestly tell you that we're still over now. I'm kind of hopefully optimistic that I'm going to be able to get through what I got here. But it's probably just a smidgen higher than what they would like. If they want to reduce something, we'll just have to come back and find something somewhere to cut costs on. But yeah, we were significantly over on the last list even before inflation hit us. So we had to kind of rein that back in and address inflation. So we kind of got hit from both ends on it.
And we do have 2 fairly large projects with 25 cost estimates between 10 and 15. We've gotten it down to 10 million for the shoulders on 25 through the reduction in width. But the additional lanes on I-55 is a very large ticket project that we're looking at. And the planning committee did reevaluate the additional lanes and the potential need, and it was reiterated that by the committee that they felt that the project should remain on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, with I-55 on that stretch becoming congested by 2045. So they wanted it to remain on the list, and they felt as if a tier 3 was appropriate for it. But how we phase it and what the actual stretch looks like at tier 3, they were open to ideas, but they saw a lot of merits still on the project. Well, Mike, would it be okay if we send the list as it is, and if you get your hand wrapped, we come back and we try to brainstorm how to reduce tier 3 a little bit?
Are you talking about the list that I just emailed you?
Haven't had a chance to.
I think it's the list that the prior one that showed Route 25 being reduced, and it showed the I can't remember what was different than what you're probably looking at. It showed Route 25 in Shawnee at tier 1. I had an updated cost for the flyover at tier 2, and then I just, exit 90 or the 6-lane and 55. I think that's pretty much where we're at, Alex. I don't know that there's too much difference between what you may be thinking and what I just sent.
Okay, so the main difference that Michael's proposing is our tier 3 project for the additional lanes on I-55. That would be, instead of 96 to 99, we'd be looking at 93 to Route K. And is that 24 million the entire estimate, or is that for that phase? Michael?
It's for that phase.
And are those adjusted for inflation?
Yes.
Do you remember what percentage you were using for that? Was it 7 or?
Well, overall, we had you upped at 20, I believe. We had 10% last time and 10% this time. So if everybody was agreeable to the list as was before, that would be the main difference now, is to get agreeable with the change of limits of the 6 lane of 55. We just kind of got to put it somewhere where there's where it fits money
Michael,
wise.
did you happen to look at traffic volumes at all through those stretches on 55 between 96 and 99 compared to exit 93 to Route K?
Not in a while. It's been a while since I've looked at that. I would suspect 96 and 99 is the bigger stretch. I just don't know if it's one that was affordable.
With it being an unfunded needs list and on a tier 3 schedule, if the board were to approve the exit 93 to Route K phase, and for some reason tier 3 money opens up, would we be able to reevaluate it to ensure that that's the exact stretch we wanted, or would we be locked in at that point?
That's a really good question, Alex. And I don't, it just depends on what money kind of comes around and is available. With some of the stuff that's coming from general revenue, that was just kind of blindly taken off the list, and, not much reshaping or rethinking or anything. Of course, there could be opportunities to present that differently, or to if we present from some funds from another source, maybe we have the choice. The main thing is we do know we want exit 9 or 55 on here, which is, this isn't the preferred stretch, but this is just all we have the money for. So that could go either way, to tell you the truth, to be quite honest.
I think we had originally selected 96 to 99 under the assumption that that was the busiest stretch, given the activity on both exits.
Both those 3 miles. Okay, based on the mile accounts, and both the 3 miles, right? 93 to 96, or 96 to 91.
Mike, is that accurate for both?
Yeah, I don't know that we have the miles in here, right, or something's messed up. I'm trying to get back into last year's.
Route K is 96, is that right?
Right.
Yes. The non-engineered, seems like a 3 mile stretch is a 3 mile stretch, as you were saying, but I'm sure there's not.
Is there extra stretching in between one and the other?
They all have the interchange.
I think there's a 4 mile difference between the actual 96 and 99. I think what I got going on here is I don't have my long miles changed in what I had sent out to you before. From Route 61 at exit 99 to Route K. 113,878. Close 113,878. Yeah, it's 2.5 miles between the exit 93A. I got it southbound log mile 1.6 of 116.45. And then at Route K, well, I just go to that one ramp. It's about 113.4. So about 3 miles.
3 miles difference between the two stretches? 96 and 99.
Yeah. That's just roughly going from overpass to overpass. And I think it was a little bit longer on the other one. A little like a mile more than that. Yeah, a mile more than that.
We obviously want to terminate the additional lane at an exit. Not just randomly.
Right. Well, that would, yeah.
So with this recommendation, we'd essentially be phasing the additional lanes into 3 different phases as opposed to 2. And the first one would be 93 to 96. Right. Are there any thoughts for or against the proposal? What's on the table? So we had initially proposed an additional lane on I-55 from exit 96 or Route K to exit 99 Center Junction. Due to the perception that that was the highest volume stretch of what we were looking to add additional lanes to. What Mike is proposing is a 3 different phase approach. The first phase being exit 93 to exit 96. Due to the smaller stretch and the lower costs where it would meet the threshold that he needs to satisfy. That cost is 4. He had 24 million, just a little over 24 million. 24 million is what?
So it's from exit 93 to exit 96.
Yeah, 24 million for just that. 467.
Then you mentioned 2 parts. What's the third part?
The last phase would be exit 102 to exit 105.
Nothing between 9 and 9.
Alex, I think we look at this whole thing, if we were really kind of talking, we'd want to go probably from like Scott City to Fruitland and capture all those pieces. I can't remember what exit number that is in Scott City, 89-ish, give or take, or maybe a little bit south, but
Pretty sure when the project was brought up, that was the scope we were looking at. And so we had to start breaking in phases.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know if I heard you all the way, but yeah, now it's really just about the fiscal constraint. And after doing those other jobs and with what's left for the MPO on tier 3 for funding, we were just trying to find a segment length that fits the funding that's available. And 9699 would be nice, but that's like 6 million. I think 6 million more is what that kind of came out to be before, even after we increased for inflation this time. So we need to be a little bit more fiscally constrained than what we were last time. And so this is where this lands. This is the segment that I could find that would fit the money.
Got it.
Alex, if it makes a difference, looking at traffic volumes out there, and the piece south of Route K does have slightly higher traffic volumes in that area right around where exit 93 is, and traffic, especially northbound, is peeling off of there at exit 93 and taking 61 up through the middle of town. So it is slightly higher traffic volumes there. So it's, I'll let you know that.
Jumps up to like 1,000.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Does the future options at exit 93 change this? Like, we're doing a short-term fix for 93, but the longer-term fix for exit 93, does that affect 3 lanes?
We'd be, how would it be cost if we added that lane to exit 93 and then proposed the reconfiguration?
It's a chicken
Down the
and
road.
egg scenario. I think it's no real good. Be nice to have lanes to plug into. It'd also be nice to have the interchange redone. So I don't.
Major difference. Good question. Well, Mike, do you want a formal motion by the board?
Yeah, if I could.
Or is everyone comfortable with the proposed 93 to 96 as the phase 1 for the additional lanes on 55 as a tier 3 project?
I think it's not going to have a serious impact on the 93 interchange reconfiguration, and it does have a slightly higher traffic volume, but probably makes more sense.
I'll throw it out there as a motion. You should say it, but I have
Entertain a motion to approve the revised plan as submitted by Michael Green.
that chairmanship right there. There we go. See it coming through.
Leadership qualities.
That's been a vote.
And a second.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Alex. Just remember, next year we get to do this again. Hopefully inflation decompresses and, we'll move this around if we have to, we'll do what we can.
Thank you, Mike.
So that was a motion to change that line. You're saying the motion to pull and kind of needs this. All right, so with that, we'll move on to resolution number 2023-02.
Okay, so The board passed a similar resolution last year. This is for the MoDOT Regional Bridge Program. City of Jackson is looking to participate in the program again with Sunset Boulevard Bridge. I did have a map of the location of the bridge. And then we have a resolution in support of the city's application. All applications are due June 9th, with final selection anticipated on August 4th.
Alex provided a copy of the resolution there for everybody to read. Unless you want it read aloud, I would accept the motion to accept that resolution.
Move to approve resolution 2023-02. For Sunset Drive for Bridge Budget Program.
Second that. We have a motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Then that passed, Mayor, so nobody opposed.
Next is draft public transit. Human services transportation plan.
So our committee had the opportunity to look at the draft again earlier this month. After their review, they released the draft for public comment. We are currently accepting public comment. There's really nothing new on the plan to discuss. This is just another opportunity for anyone to provide any verbal comments. We're still accepting comments. We encourage you to submit them by PDF to either me or Marla. Later on the agenda, we'll be asked to schedule a public hearing for our next board meeting in June. That'll be June 21st. After the public hearing closes, I'll be asking the board to consider the plan for approval.
Alex. Next, we move on to the draft 2024-2027 transportation improvement program.
All right, so our draft tip is a very similar adoption schedule. The tip does come with a 25-day comment period. It was reviewed by our planning committee earlier this month. They released it for public comment. We had received comments from members of our planning committee. Public comment is open. It's posted on our website and similar to our public transit plan. Later on the agenda, we'll be asking to establish a public hearing date for June 21st.
Right. And with that, we'll go ahead to schedule the public hearings for the TIP and Human Service Transportation Coordination Plan for June 21st to 2023. We have a motion to set the public hearing.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing is set. Move on to member reports. Alex, you have any? Okay.
Oh, I'm only sitting person here. I do not have a few comments.
Okay.
I'll refer to our mayor's comments. We have an excellent website. Try and keep up to date as much as we can with our project. Apologies, I don't have anything for you today.
All right. Move to City Jackson.
South Bridge on Mary Street and to the park that we've been working on opens at 5 o'clock today. Press release went out, so that's happening. And we continued with our asphalt and concrete work that we do around town on an annualized basis. So that's ongoing, and you've approved our application for the bridge on Sunset Hills recently, earlier. I think that's the key thing. Jim, anything?
I don't have anything else, man.
Okay.
Commissioner Hurst, do you have anything to give our county?
I just got my report. We're doing 15 miles of overlay this summer. 5 miles of new road, which with the asphalt price, I thought it was gonna be a lot less than that. But we were gonna pay new, so 5 miles is really pretty good. Got a 7 or 8 year waiting list. Roads ready to go with easement signed, all that kind of stuff to go. We're trying to build some bridges. Build the jail. Courthouse, might be building the EOC center.
Parking lots.
Parking.
We approved it last time. Well, we said the public.
Good thing.
All right,
That's it.
do no special road district has anything?
They got a lot of money. Paving, paving.
All right, we'll move on to Cape Transit.
Ridership is slowly but surely picking up. The problem is we're still we can't find drivers. Every time we hire two, we lose three. And we're not gaining any, and so it's still a major issue. You just can't find any people to work. You know, the city of Cape's having the same problem. Talking to them, they've got a lot of people missing. I don't know about Jackson, but we're probably short of 10 drivers. And that affects the public because we can't keep up with the demand. So they start yelling at us and all that stuff, but we can't do anything about it. They only do so much.
You hire full-time and part-time.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of our part-time are seniors. And are our best. They still want to work full-time. So we hire as many of those as we can. We do with what we got. That's all I got.
And one more thing, we should have somebody for the technical planning committee for next month, so.
All right.
Commissioner discussion, we should approve that next week, so.
Awesome.
Anything else, find somebody to serve.
All right, Cape Regional Airport.
We're moving forward on all the projects we've got going on. The terminal projects is underway. They're working on earthquake remediation today, and T hangers will start July. We'll just selected Zellner Construction to complete that project. And our air traffic is starting to pick up. We're still kind of tracking a little about down 8%. But our advanced bookings are looking pretty good for May and June, so feeling pretty good.
Drew, do you have anything for the RPC?
Yes.
I will say that we are getting ready to start our process of our next comprehensive economic development strategy for the RPC. That is our 5-year plan with EDA. So if you're willing to serve on that committee and start steering that plan, we're really wanting to look at good ideas, good projects, identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and getting all that kind of lined out in this plan. So when funding becomes available, we can have a list we can tap into. We'll go ahead and move on to I'm gonna let you go first.
You have Brian, Brian,
We're trying to say,
project manager of
Chester? Yes.
his contact.
Yep.
Is that just his name, not Brian?
Brian.okenfoos@modot.mo.
Right, or minutes with that. That was something we had some Chester Bridge. Other than that, I'm in.
Well, on May the 12th at 6 p.m., the 2023 legislative session ended. And there were several notable things in that that came out of that I'm sure many of you have seen in the paper. I-70 funding, 1.4 million, excuse me, 1.4 billion in general revenue, 1.4 billion in bonding, for a total of 2.8 billion, which should add another lane in each direction for a 200-mile length of that corridor. So that's historic, I believe is the term that has been used to describe that. So that's pretty exciting. Internally, we've already started talking to all the districts about putting together a team that will deliver that project. So that's going to be a statewide priority for us for some time. In addition to I-70, there were a number of other funding designations. There was 5 million set aside for the US 63 corridor from Kabul to Houston. That was for an environmental study. 10 million for US 67, Future 57, Phase 3 in Butler County for utility relocation and right-of-way acquisition. There was $100 million set aside for rural roads with a APT of less than 1,000. Of that 100 million, our district, the Southeast District, there's about 12.8 million that we will be evaluating based on condition of roads that meet that criteria, less than 1,000 APT. So I would expect to see letter routes in the rural counties. So that's something that we're working through right now, and trying to get those plugged into our program for, in particular, the 100 million for rural roads, with less than 1,000 AT. We would like to get those in so that those projects are awarded this fall, September, October, November lettings. So there's a pretty quick turnaround on that. All of that is obviously subject to the governor's veto and or signature. Other fun things that happened this legislative session, this is my personal favorite, SCR 8 that was sponsored by Senator Jason Bean passed. If you're not familiar with that bill, that designated Campbell, Missouri as the peach capital of Missouri. So that's pretty exciting. And I will, after that, I will stop talking, but Chris takes over.
I just had a couple project updates. The TAP project that we've been working with the city on for quite a while now at Kiwanis Drive and 61 Kings Highway. We've finally given them authority to advertise for that project. So they will be posting that in the near future. And hopefully we get good bids on it and we can move forward with the project. So looking forward to that one. I do believe the other two TAP projects that were recently awarded to the city, we are waiting for the executed engineering service contracts in the city so that we can get the PE funds, the design funds obligated and move on to that phase of the project. Spoke with our construction staff and they said we're going to be working out on Route 177 next month. We're not doing anything major. We're just going to be out in the area doing some slope repair and erosion control repair, just kind of tidying up some of the imperfections in the project. Nothing major though. We do have the Route 61 project coming out for bid this Friday. So again, we're hoping that we get really good bids on that and we can move forward and get that underway here shortly. The CCTV camera project, if you're familiar with what those are, they're cameras that are located on our network that you can remote into. They're on our website. There's one currently right now. And, there's several along the I-55 corridor. We are going to be installing some more of those cameras. That project also is in the May letting. So no cameras the MPO might be interested in are ones at the roundabout in Jackson and 61, the 3472 interchange, Most 61 in Mount Auburn, and I-55 Most 74. Again, hopefully we get good bids on those, and once they're installed, we'll take a little bit of time, but we'll have a live stream feed so you can tune into that if you so desire.
Those are really popular during winter events.
Yeah.
That's when we find a lot of traffic going to those, people looking at those during winter events. Just nothing like an eye on the actual location to kind of see what it looks like out there and whether you want to venture.
Just video archive. I don't believe. Yeah, I think I've been asked that question before. I can't remember why, but I know
Most big expenses for work.
Yeah, I don't have a storage capacity for that. It's live streamed.
Yeah. They are helpful too. I was in a backup for an accident, you know, in segments of I-55 are moving. Unfortunately, but we do have the Route W project, which is to the Lexington, I'm gonna give the contractor plenty of time to November 1st, 2024, what you think they can fit that in. The other notable item, the interstate signage, we're gonna be replacing a lot of signs along the I-55 corridor. Those are tentatively scheduled to be replaced starting in October of 2023. I believe we've sent the city, both city of Cape and city of Jackson's, the changes that we're going to be implementing, but we kind of expect that this fall to be in the works. And other than that, we do have a lighting job that I know Rodney and I have talked about a little bit. Basically, our district is installing lighting throughout the district to light the nose of non-metal curbs. And they're currently working in Jackson on the 72 corridor. That they expect to have that work completed approximately at the end of July. It is not continuous lighting, it's just lighting concentrated at the intersections where we have non-metal curbs. The nose of those items are not there. Just wanted to clarify that. Beyond that, I think there was one other legislative item that was notable. I don't remember the actual bill number, but I do believe we finally passed some legislation that involves hands-free driving. They're going to update that. Now the current law is that if you're 18 and under, you're not allowed to use a cell phone or operate a vehicle using an electronic device. That's going to change to any age. Individuals are no longer going to be allowed to operate an electronic device behind the wheel of the vehicle. I do believe it will be a secondary offense, not a primary offense, but that's a step in the right direction for us. So that's all I have, Joe.
Three things quickly. Speaking of the legislation that passed, part of the general revenue, there was some funding set aside for the Cape Girardeau Airport, $350,000. So it's always good to have more money there. And 23.7 million assigned for ports throughout the state for a grant program for ports. So I'm hoping that the ports in our district, we have 5 ports in our district, hopefully SEMPO port and the other ports will take advantage of that and be recipients. And last thing is June the 7th is the date that the draft 2024 through 2028 STIP will be released for public comment by the Highway Commission. And there will be procedures on our website whenever you go to review that. If you have public comments and want to present public comments, and they will take those through July the 6th. And I think that's all that I have. I don't know if Mike has something else.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Signing. Many times.
Yeah. Well,
miles.
Change.
One other item that was legislative designations, is kind of interesting for IDOT, is the Don Welty Memorial Bridge.
I dropped off a number of folks that were online. We still have Betsy.
Okay, well, Betsy, do you have anything to add for Federal Highway?
Betsy, we still have. you
No,
muted.
I've had some audio problems. I don't have anything to add today. Thank you.
Concludes our member reports, so
Don't have much. Our FY 24 work plan. City Council had the first reading of the consolidated plan grant agreement on their May 15th meeting. I'll do the second reading and the first. We'll send that off to. Our notice, see for our SS4A project, our safety action plan that we received federal funds to do. I'm working on a draft RFP right now. We had originally scheduled it to be fiscal year, but should be able to have a draft ready to put out for that, or completely ready right at the one. Put out. I have.
does anyone have any other business or communications? Okay. All in favor? Sure.
Right, I almost got it, but what's key is. Well, I have copies of it. And. Separated.